Hey everybody, it's your art teacher, Mr. Mangoni. I'm here in the art room, but we are missing something very important. We're missing you. I wish you were here. But that's okay, because we're gonna make some art anyway. Because you're stuck at home, that doesn't mean you can't make art, doesn't mean you can't be creative, doesn't mean you can't have fun. So today, I'm gonna show you how to make some mandala art. And I know a lot of you have done this already. We're gonna make a beautiful mandala together. You can either draw right along with me, or you can do your own thing, or you can just watch. I don't care. I'm just happy to be here with you. So, a mandala is a type of art where you're using lots of repeating patterns going on around in a circle. And a lot of times people do this type of art to help them calm down, to help them relax a little bit. It's very soothing for your mind. So I think that's something we could all use right now. So we're gonna take some time to just kind of relax. You can, like I said, you can draw with me, or you can just kind of relax and watch the video. But mainly we'll take some deep breaths and calm down and just use this as a relaxation time. So let's take some deep breaths, okay? Like fill your belly like a balloon. I mean it, this really does help. You will see, you do this 3 times, your brain will start to feel more relaxed. Here we go, in. And one more. Okay, now I feel like we're ready to go. All right. I'm gonna set up here at the purple table. Shout out to my purple table folks. And I've got a big paper here and I've got like a Sharpie, but I want to give you a good reminder that you do not need to have any kind of specific fancy art stuff to make art. Alright, I know a lot of you are stuck at home, you might not have this stuff. That's okay, alright? I got good at art just with old school notebooks and regular old pens that I found. So you find anything you can do right on napkins, right? You can make this on a napkin. You can use old receipts, old notebooks, the back of old school worksheets you don't need. Doesn't matter. This is all just about relaxing, making a drawing, you know, enjoying yourself, and maybe getting a little better at something along the way. So, here's what we're gonna do. Like I said, you can draw along with me, or you can do it your own way, or you can just watch, doesn't matter. But what I'm gonna do, when I do a mandala, I start with a circle in the middle, okay? Because a mandala is patterns that follow around in a circle. Is your circle gonna be perfect? Absolutely not, because we're not perfect. That's okay. If you get one part that doesn't turn out good, don't worry about it. I'm doing another circle in the middle here, and I'm gonna do some lines going in there. The more of these like repeating patterns that you can do, the better. And if you can't keep up, because I do go some kind of fast sometimes, feel free to pause the video, you know, that's fine. I like to kind of start with these little bumpy shapes. This is a nice easy pattern to start with. Keep them nice and small, try to keep them all around the same size. But look, oh, mine didn't really line up correctly. That's okay, just keep going. You don't have to start over with this, it's not a big deal. No one's grading it, no one's judging you, just enjoy it. Sometimes I'll even do another layer over these. A lot of these patterns I learned from looking at other artists who do this type of thing. I didn't invent all of this, and that's okay. And I'll even do one more. Now, some cultures do something called henna art, which is like you'll see this kind of thing on their hands. It's like a temporary tattoo. And like a mom will sit down with her daughter and do it on their hands. It's a nice thing. And they learn these patterns from each other, you know, like maybe she learned it from her grandmother and she learned it from her grandmother, and that's a really cool thing. So it's not copying, but it's learning from each other, and that's beautiful. So I'm going to do these kind of pointy flower petals. I think it's going to take up maybe 3 spaces of these little ones. It doesn't have to be exact like that. I'm not really counting. See, that one was only 2. Who cares? I'm going to forget about that. And we just keep going with these bigger flower petals. And I like to, with my mandalas, oh, I think looks like we're missing one here. I'm just gonna add one in. Why not? Who really cares? I kind of actually like putting one in between. That kind of evens it out a little bit. That's nice. I'll put one in between each. That's good. And then with these mandalas, the more details you add inside, the better. So inside these flower petals, I'll kind of double that line. Oh, I guess I'm doing these ones too. Double that line up. And you know what? Spring is coming. The sun is coming out. In fact, I think today is going to be the first day of spring when I'm filming this. Maybe not when you see it, but so we're going to make these little sunbursts in there. You just do a little sun and 3 little lines. Isn't that beautiful? And the more of these you draw, you'll learn these patterns, and you'll kind of have your own little bag of tricks to use. You know, you'll be able to whip these out anytime and kind of design how you want to do it. So you can start by copying, that's fine. Sometimes I like to double up on a line, like I'll take my marker or pen or pencil or whatever and really darken a line if it's like a really important line. So I'm going to do that here. I think it's going to look nice. It takes a while, but it's really satisfying when you see how it looks. It looks really nice. It's kind of outlining. I didn't really learn how to do about this until a few years ago, and I wish I'd learned it earlier, because especially with like cartoons or something, if you do these thick outlines just around the outside edge of something, it really makes it pop, so you can kind of see that. Now, I don't really know what to do next. Maybe I'll do like some little petal-y designs. These little things are nice and pretty. These are just like long, almost oval shapes, almost like flower petals from a daisy or something like that. Boy, do I miss daisies. I'm not a big fan of the winter. I really like the warm weather, playing outside. And you know what? Just because you are stuck at home from school does not mean you can't play outside, alright? You can be careful around other people, but you go ahead and play outside. It's really good for you. In fact, when you get lots of sunshine, it makes you happier. That's a real thing. That's science. You will feel happier. You will feel kind of just more together if you get some sunshine. I'm not making that up. Deep breaths and sunshine, right? We're like a plant. We need to breathe, and we need lots of sunlight. So I'm doing these lines, kind of connecting these, making a nice circle around there. I like it. It's pretty cool. I'm just looking at the camera right now to make sure it looks good. It looks good to me. And if it doesn't look perfect, that's okay. It doesn't have to be a perfect video. I'm just glad to be here with you. I'm glad to have this opportunity. I'm gonna make some bubbles. I love bubbles. When I make bubbles, I do a round shape, and then I draw like the little reflection on that side, and the same on the other side. See? Bubbles reflect on both sides. Bubbles are so cool. Because one reflection's from the front of the bubble, one reflection's from the back of the bubble. Ooh, those are nice. And maybe I'll just add some bubbles, like I'll put one on the end like that, and draw a little circle under there so it looks like it's sitting on it, and do the same reflections. Cool. And I'm going to do each one a little differently, because sometimes it's fun to have it a little wonky. Have you heard of something called wabi-sabi? It's kind of a funny word, but I really like it. Wabi-sabi is like the beauty of something being imperfect, right? Some of us are so worried about being perfect all the time, but there's actually a beauty to something that's not perfect. You know, like if you have a pair of jeans that's a little bit torn up, sometimes that can be a really cool looking pair of jeans, right? It looks like it's been through something, it's got some character. That's wabi-sabi, right? It's like not everything has to be perfect. Like if you have a rose, and you have a perfect rose in your garden, that's pretty cool. But maybe you have another rose where the petals are kind of withering down a little bit and peeling away and opening up. Somebody might think that that rose is more interesting to look at than the perfect one, right? So, I like to think of that with myself too. A little bit of wabi-sabi. If I'm not perfect, that's okay. You know, there's beauty to me in being not perfect. And you know what? It's the same with your art, okay? We don't want every drawing to be this perfect, neat drawing. Sometimes it's nice to have something that's a little sketchy or a little wiggly or a little off center. That can actually be kind of nice. And if you just embrace that, you'll have a much easier time with your art. You know, because you need to, just checking the camera, you need to practice a lot to get really good at art. Like a lot. So if every time you sit down to make art, you're really tense and you're really worried about making it perfect and you're just like, you're not really gonna do it a lot, you know? If you kind of relax and just enjoy it and not worry too much about it, just make something. You don't like it, just make another thing. If you do that, you're gonna get really good at it because you're gonna do it a lot. That's a pretty mandala. I like it. Let's just add some more bubbles. This has got a nice sunny springtime feel to it. I'm just kind of doing some freestyle bubbles going around here. Boy, I can't wait to go out and make some bubbles this spring. Actually been making bubbles with my son Leo. He's 1.5 now and he loves them. He calls them bubbies. Bubbies. Alright. I like it. I'm happy with that. It's definitely not perfect. That's alright. And you at home, if yours doesn't look like mine, guess what? That's great. Alright? Because I bet it's different and special in its own way because it's yours. Alright? And I hope you like it. And if you don't sweat it. It's fine. You just enjoyed yourself. Okay? And maybe try another one. Sometimes you can see what you don't like and fix it. I think I'm going to paint this. Now, I know that a lot of you might not have paints at home, and that's okay. You might have something to color with. You can do that. If you don't, that's really all right. I'm still going to paint it, and I think you will enjoy seeing me paint it. A lot of times, I just do art in black and white, and I prefer that. So it's not a big deal if there's no color to it. There's a certain beauty to that as well.